start with Senator Hogue on this one. How do you feel about sanctuary cities and the path to citizenship for undocumented workers?
Well, immigration is a really important issue facing our country, and for all the hot air you hear from Republicans like Steve King on the subject, where's their legislative proposal? They don't have one. It's another example how Congress has become so dysfunctional they can't get anything done. There was a comprehensive immigration reform proposal before the Senate. The Democrats were in charge there. Senator Grassley voted against that. I support immigration reform. I believe America is a better and stronger country because of immigrants. And so, for example, I support the DREAM Act. I think dreamers are part of this generation of young Americans that can accomplish so much. I support improved border security and case processing. It's so dysfunctional that we have, Congress is so dysfunctional, we have a backlog of over 450,000 cases. I support labor market analysis to guide the decision about how many people should be entering this country each year rather than arbitrary standards developed by Congress. And finally, I do believe that we should have a pathway to permanent resident status initially, and then once you become a permanent resident, that puts you on a pathway to citizenship. And that's because we need to welcome people to this country, because immigration makes our country better and stronger. Thank you.
I would concur with a number of things mentioned there. The fact of the matter is that it seems that the plan of the Republican Party or the conservative right is we gather 11 million people and ship them across the border and drop them off and try to see what's going to happen, because that's going to make us a better country. I remember a time in our country that we looked at people that put up walls and actually felt that was a disgrace. And in our country, that should be despised. In addition to that, as I mentioned, I very much believe in comprehensive immigration reform. Providing people with a pathway to citizenship is something that isn't going to destroy this nation. It will prevent criminalization of many, many people. Obviously, there are stipulations with that they have to comply with, but it is the right thing to do. In addition to that, I understand on occasion that the issue of workers and respecting their rights and their jobs in this country are an important issue, but I think legislatively that can be addressed in the reform legislation that's been proposed.
Let me start by saying Iowa has a rich history of accepting refugees. I think about during Governor Ray's administration, we took in refugees from Vietnam. We've taken in refugees from Bosnia. And I want to continue that tradition. I am in favor of allowing Syrian refugees to come to the United States and come to Iowa. Okay? That's the point that I start from. The next thing I want to talk about is, yes, we need a path to citizenship, but I also want to say I am disheartened by the Obama administration extraditing people, especially children, back to their home country where they face violence. We need to stop the extradition of children. We need to welcome them. One of the memorable lines from Governor O'Malley is, he said, the enduring symbol of America is the Statue of Liberty, not the razor wire fence. I agree with that. But beyond simply providing a path to citizenship, I would like to explore dual citizenship. One of the differences between those of us that came from Europe and those that come from south of the border is many of those want to go home to family, want to come back and forth. I think a way to facilitate that is through dual citizenship, and one of the things that I want to explore through immigration reform is dual citizenship, to allow people to be citizens of the United States, pledge loyalty to our Constitution, learn English, but remain citizens of their home country. And then I would also extend to them, once they go home, all the rights and protections that U.S. citizens enjoy.
We have 11 million undocumented citizens in our country. That's 11 million people that are not paying taxes. Economic. 2, I talked to a young lady not too long ago that was trapped in a situation because she's in the shadows. She was being not only harassed at work, but she was being sexually exploited. She was in a situation that she couldn't tell her husband, because if she was to tell her husband, then she would lose the opportunity for the husband and the children to be deported. So she has to go to work and be sexually abused. The only way that we can address that in our country is if we were to add them, these 11 million plus individuals, to our legal arena. We need to do that. We are a country of immigrants. Folks forget that. When you look at the Statue of Liberty, like Mr. Fegan had mentioned, there's a wonderful saying on it that talks about welcoming with open arms individuals from other, I'm paraphrasing, from other countries that have to leave. I believe that we can do better at that. I'm full in support of children not being deported. I believe we need to keep our families. And one other thing specific to the 3rd Congressional District, a cornerstone to our district is agriculture. A lot of our undocumented citizens work in the agricultural space. This would also help us as we further strengthen our agricultural economics in our 3rd Congressional District.
When I was serving in Iraq with the Iowa Army National Guard, I had a soldier who was serving in the U.S. military, but he was not a U.S. citizen. He had been born in Mexico. And we were able to access a special program since he was serving in a war zone to apply for his citizenship. And one of the proudest moments that I've ever had as an American and as a service member is to stand there next to him as he was sworn in as a U.S. citizen while standing in Iraq serving in his country. So every time I hear this hateful, divisive rhetoric from Donald Trump and the Tea Party, David Young and Steve King, that's exactly what I think of. And it needs to change. I absolutely support a comprehensive immigration reform that includes a pathway to citizenship. I support the DREAM Act. And we need to hold David Young accountable. Does he support Donald Trump's wall? He has said Donald Trump is saying what people are thinking. He says he supports Donald Trump as the Republican nominee. Would David Young vote to fund a special police force of Donald Trump's to deport 11 million people? We need to hold the Republicans accountable for this hateful and divisive rhetoric. We need absolutely to move forward on a comprehensive solution that's going to improve the lives of every American, and especially the 11 million folks who would be able to have access to that process in which they can apply for a legal status and eventually citizenship.